Now, South Africa's mining production and sales report shows the sector yet again in decline and the threat to the wider economy. Mining production fell 2.6% year-on-year in May, primarily on the back of a 16.2% decline in the gold sector. Joining me now via Skype is Peter Major, Director Mining at Cadiz Corporate Solutions. Peter, good to link up with you again. Let's talk about that gold drop. First of all, it must be noted, of course, that that drop was better than expected, but that gold number, was that also better than expected? It's hard to argue.
Look, we've got to say, where have we come from? We can't just look at the last month or even just the last year. We had two really bad drops the last 2 months. And now to have a 19% drop this month, it just shows this isn't just under siege. This is almost capitulation. And no one has sunk a new gold shaft in 15 years. There's no new investment coming in the gold industry. So they're running on old mines, far away working places. They're not making enough money to even stay in business capital, let alone pay dividends. And you're not going to attract investment like that. So that's the backdrop of the economy. That's the backdrop of these negotiations, wage negotiations for the next 2 years. And there's nothing we can do to change that under the current environment.
Sounds to me, Peter, like you are signaling the end of the gold mining sector.
Unfortunately, yes. It's the end of the gold mining sector for the world's richest gold country. South Africa still has 50% of the world's known gold, and we are number 10 on production. We're less than Mexico. China's producing 3 times what we are. The States, Canada, Australia, almost double. And it didn't have to be like that. But we've taken a great industry for granted that was built on hundreds of billions of dollars, millions and millions of men's working careers to build this industry. And we've just abused it. We've plucked it. We've ignored it. But look, there's other drops in mining. It's not just gold. The fact that building materials are down 15%, that's bricks, sand, concrete, gravel. You know, that shows this economy is taking strain. Those are building materials. They're not even exported, and they're down 15% in a month. So that means it's not just mining under strain. It means our whole economy is not growing. 58 million people, we're not building enough.
So on the ground, Peter, when you look through those numbers and you try to look ahead and tie in all these other issues that you're talking about that are also in the wider economy, where do you see mining for the rest of the year? Some people are beginning to say that potentially here we could look at South Africa slipping into a recession.
Unfortunately, that's a reality. The only thing holding mining up here is these commodity prices had a great run the last 2.5 years. Most of them are trading above their means. So even though we weren't increasing production, these worldwide commodity prices have shot up so much. But they've been slipping a lot, just the last 1.5, 2 months. And they've really slipped a lot. And that means a lot more of our mines are going to be uneconomic. So you say, what can we do to change this? If you want to be competitive in life, you got to be more efficient. You got to be more productive. We have to be more efficient, more productive than the other 199 mining countries. But the last 20 years, we've made ourselves the least efficient, the least productive. And for 100 years, we didn't depend on commodity prices. It didn't matter that the gold price did nothing for 40 years. We doubled production. We tripled production, but we doubled the number of men. We doubled the number of mines. We have to act like the auto industry, the IT industry. You have to get more efficient on lower prices, not just sit around hoping the price goes up.
Yeah. Peter, if you had the ear of the president and perhaps the Minister of Mines, of course, who we know is a union man from his early days, what would you say to them? Because in addition to all that amount of bad news that you are giving me, there's, of course, the issue of expropriation of land without compensation. And that, of course, has wider implications for mine ownership as well.
It does. If I was president, I would act like this is World War II. And I mean, you can say I'm American, so I'm going to think, what did the American president do at World War II? He called in the auto companies. He called in the oil companies and the mining companies. He says, men, we're at war. This is going to be a different economy. I need your help. How are we going to work together? And he called in the union leaders and the press. And I think we're at war here with recession. And yes, Mr. Ramaphosa knows the union. He can call in the union leaders, he can call in the mining leaders, and he can say, I'm taking charge, guys. I'm going to have you agree on what I can, and I'm going to give some suggestions. And I want to make it attractive for foreigners to invest in mining to create jobs. Now, who's against that? I can't believe anybody's against foreigners putting money in this economy to create jobs. So why doesn't our charter reflect that?
Absolutely. And talking about that charter, I wish we had more time because we would have to talk about what we are going to get when we do give the 30% that we're talking about empty mines where you and I might be without a job.
You're right. What's 30% of nothing? It's better to have no percent of something great and you have a job and you have taxes paid and you have foreign dollars coming in.